Hello everyone, we are Group 36. My name is ZiYue Chen. The target company we pick in this presentation is ExxonMobil Corporation, led by Darren Woods. First, I will do a brief introduction in this presentation, background of the company and its CEO, Darren Woods, will be given, followed with the definition of ethical dilemma and the theoretical underpin. After that, our members will discuss the rationale for approach and options. The last part will be decision and suggestions. Now let us move to the background section. ExxonMobil is the largest non-government-owned company in the energy industry. How critical it is in the field? Well, its products about 3% of the world's oil and about 2% of the world's energy. ExxonMobil was founded 22 years ago, November 30th, 1999. Headquarters Owen, Texas, US. The review achieved US dollars $178.57 billion and has 64,000 employees. The company is injured in the exploration, production, trade, transportation, and sale of crude oil and natural gas, and the manufacture, transportation, and sale of crude oil, natural gas, petroleum products, petrochemicals, and a range of specialty products. However, ExxonMobil had been credited for its slow response to cleanup efforts after the 1989 Exxon Valdez oil spill in Alaska, which was regarded as one of the world's worst oil spills in the terms of damage to the environment. It has a history of lobbying for climate change deadline and against the scientific consensus that global warming is caused by the burning of fossil fuels. Moreover, ExxonMobil has been the target of execution of improperly dealing with human rights issues. The leader of a company plays an important role in its development and strategy making. Darren Woods joined Exxon in 1992, had worked for Exxon for 30 years, and now has public asset of 91,737,424 US dollars. Regarding the education background, he has a bachelor's degree in electrical engineering and an MBA. It is worth mentioning that the leader was criticized as he lied to Congress in 2021. He denied that Exxon had covered up its own research about Big Oil's contribution to the crisis, and he also declined to make a pledge to stop lobbying against climate initiatives.
Okay, thanks, ZiYue. Hello everyone, my name is Zheng Liu. The purpose of my talk is to define ethical dilemmas. The first part is definition of ethical dilemmas. An ethical dilemma is a complex situation that often involves an apparent mental conflict between moral imperatives, in which to obey one would result in transgressing another. An ethical dilemma occurs when there is a conflict between two sets of human values, both of which are judged to be good, but both of which cannot be fully served. There are three conditions that must be present for a situation to be considered an ethical dilemma. The first condition occurs in situations when an individual, called the agent, must make a decision about which course of action is best. The second condition for ethical dilemma is that there must be different courses of action to choose from. Third, in an ethical dilemma, no matter what course of action is taken, some ethical principle is compromised. In other words, there is no perfect solution. The second part is ethical dilemma about Darren Woods. With the global spread of the COVID-19, international crude oil prices fell sharply. The outbreak of the COVID-19 has undoubtedly brought a severe impact on the global oil industry, resulting in a sharp fall in oil prices and a great impact on crude oil production enterprises such as ExxonMobil. For the huge doubts in 2020, ExxonMobil's debt increased by 20.7 billion to 67.6 billion. At the same time, its debt rating is declining due to increased pressure on the company to deal with climate change and ExxonMobil's aggressive investment this year to boost its oil and gas production. About the dilemma situation. As ExxonMobil CEO Darren Woods is faced with both internal and external dilemmas of the company's development. Externally, the company sees oil and natural gas as the center of economic growth in the coming decades. But in a new area of energy shifting from fossil fuels to more sustainable energy, this oil and gas-centric strategic approach makes the company's finances unstable and even faces great risks and difficulties. Investors feel that Darren Woods doesn't invest enough in sustainable energy and lacks foresight and then he still wants to use oil and gas as the core foundation of the company. With the company, the layoffs caused a lot of dissatisfaction among employees, who also thought that Darren Woods was extremely arrogant, inconsiderate, and politicized. The third part is the core values of ethical dilemma. The internal and external moral dilemma faced by Darren Woods are very consistent, and the core is oil and gas-centric versus develop sustainable energy. Because Darren Woods and ExxonMobil have always believed that no company in history has been more influential in the oil and gas industry than ExxonMobil. However, in the wave of low-carbon economy, investment companies lean on the idea of commercializing ExxonMobil's low-carbon technology. But ExxonMobil is still a step behind in investing in sustainable energy, with its oil and gas businesses at its core. So I finished my part.
Thanks, Zheng Liu. My name is JiangYu Chen. What makes some people excel in leadership? This is the question that leadership series seek to explain. We look at ExxonMobil's CEO Darren Woods' leadership style through the lessons of various leadership series. Some of the most common leadership theories include situational leadership theory, transformational leadership theory, transactional leadership theory, behavioral leadership theory, and great man leadership theory. We found Darren Woods is situational leader. I will therefore begin my look at situational leadership theory. Situational leadership theory process that there is no one way or style of leading that may be effective in all situations. This theory says that different situations demand different leadership styles and decision making. Situational leadership strengths include the fact that it acknowledges flexibility, increased awareness of the leader, and it is practical and easy to adopt. Situational leadership weaknesses include focus on immediate needs rather than long-term needs. Frequent shifts in style can cause confusion and can be challenging in task-oriented environments. Darren is a situational leader because he focuses on immediate needs. Even though he might not want it, he will still lay off workers because of the economic downturn. Again, he is reluctant to shift towards sustainable energy production because the current situation indicates that the future is. This leadership is also known as relational leadership. This is because it focuses on fostering the relationship between leaders and the followers. Transformational leadership describes a kind leader who is charismatic, inspires, and encourages followers to transform and become the best they can be. Darren is not a transformer leader because his followers view him as inconsiderate. Transactional leadership theory is also known as management theory or exchange leadership theory. It revolves around the role of supervision, organization, and teamwork performance. It is the most popular leadership style in many business organizations today. Supporters of the leadership theory use rewards and punishment to motivate their followers. Darren Woods can also be considered to be a transactional leader due to his focus short-term goals and his insistence on rules. Considered as one of the best leadership theories, behavioral leadership theory shifts emphasis from leadership qualities to behaviors and actions of a leader. According to this theory, effective leadership can result from learned and acquired skills. Behavioral leadership process that an individual can learn to be an effective leader. Darren's behavior does not reflect the qualities of a leader such as empathy, relationship building, supportive, and dependable. This theory is the exact opposite of behavioral theory. Great men leadership theory processes that leadership is an inborn phenomenon and that leaders are born rather than made. According to this theory, an individual capable of leading has leadership personality, charm, confidence, communication, social aptitude, and skills that set them apart from the others from birth. Darren Wood's personality cannot make him a great man leader. He lacks empathy, charm, and other important leadership qualities. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, JiangYu. My name is ShuYa Xu. Now let me introduce rationale for approach and options. Woods is an ethical egoism leader who pays more attention to whether to create greater interest for himself. Woods made an impromptu speech at a staff meeting and called the ranking model of the company employees' long-term dissatisfaction as elite management. He didn't take into account the feeling of employees and only care about the overall performance of the companies. The overall effect of the meeting was poor, creating the impression that Woods was arrogant and inconsiderate to his subordinates. Employees privately criticized Woods for lacking the rebellious spirit and courage of his former CEO, and others criticized him for his lack of vision for the future development of the companies. Now turn to the next page. Directive behavior refers to helping members achieve their goals through one-way communications, and supportive behavior refers to helping members feel comfortable with themselves, colleagues, and the environment through two-way communications. In the leadership style models, there are 4 different leadership styles: delegating, supporting, coaching, and directing. Woods should adopt the supporting leadership styles. This style of leadership model is applicable to employees in these 3 stages. These employees already have enough ability and need the correct leadership and support of leaders. Woods should change his arrogant attitudes and listen to the opinions of employees. Now turn to the next part. The moral dilemma faced by the company is whether to choose to develop oil and gas or sustainable resources. One option is to focus on oil development. As a result, ExxonMobil debt rating was downgraded. The surge is pressures on the company to cope with climate change, coupled with ExxonMobil active investment in increasing the company oil and gas production this year, has led to the company highest debt level in history. The company reputation also involves legal issues. The company is currently facing 20 climate change-related lawsuits from local and state government. If we continue to maintain the existing development, it will not cause too much change, and there is no need to spend too much money to develop unknown areas. The second option is to focus on the development of sustainable resources, which will lead to financial instabilities and even great risk. However, the US government will provide political support to win a good reputation for enterprises. The negative result is that it needs to consume a lot of capital and technology to develop new energies. My part is over. Now let's invite JiaQi to introduce the next part.
Okay, thank you, ShuYa. I will introduce decisions and suggestions. The first is about decisions. ExxonMobil was asked by shareholders at the company's annual board meeting why the company isn't investing more in renewable energy. Because we choose not to lose money on purpose. Without government subsidies, he says renewable energy companies can barely make a profit or even go bankrupt if they do. So Exxon will continue on all 4 points. In the past, its progress has been unduly constrained not only by the energy crisis but also by the moral dilemmas society has placed on ExxonMobil, such as continued investment in low emissions technologies and continued support for sensible carbon pricing policies. Next page, thank you. This is partly based on ExxonMobil's experience in transforming fossil energy company, which shows how the lack of fiscal incentives such as green subsidies and the total absence of environmental regulations and affect the environmental performance of fossil fuel companies. Two ways to look at it. The first is the government. Over the past 4 years, Trump and the government have subsidized fossil fuel and repealed or major environmental regulations put in place by previous administration under Biden's climate commitment. The U.S. rejoined the Paris Agreement and committed nearly $2 trillion in government funding to climate change action. As a result, we can expect the new U.S. administration to impose stricter environmental regulations, such as carbon tax and green subsidies. From the perspective of enterprises, no matter national laws and regulation impose sufficient police pressure is necessary for fossil fuel companies to actively participate in the development of green financing from the perspective of long-term business risks and social environmental responsibility. improve the company business model, and employ new development opportunity. Next page, thank you. ExxonMobil has supposed the Paris Agreement from the beginning and continues to support the U.S. government's participation in the framework of the agreement. ExxonMobil plans to further reduce its greenhouse gas emissions over the next 5 years to support the goal of the Paris Agreement and to adopt 5 targets for the long term. Next page. This is my part. The above is all the content our group discussed about ExxonMobil. Thank you for your listening.